Looking for these better days.
It is Thursday, June 25th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. With the NBA draft in the rearview mirror, we can pay a little bit more attention to the futures market in the NBA. The United States will wrap up its group stage at the World Cup today, and also getting underway today, the Travelers Championship in Connecticut. And joining us from Connecticut on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel, is our good friend David Behrman. Behrman, I know that you will be headed to the Travelers. How excited are you for this tournament? Have you been there before? What's your experience like with that course? And we're going to talk more about the odds, but just give me an overall sense of how excited you are for this tournament.
Very excited. It's a pilgrimage I make every single year. It's 15 minutes down the road. I've probably been 12, 13, 14 times, but I haven't been able to go the last 2 years. 2 years ago, my parents had a 50th anniversary cruise the whole family went on. And last year, unfortunately, there was a family issue that we had to attend to. So have not been there in a couple of years. Last time I went, Keegan Bradley won, and then Keegan Bradley won again last year. It's a great event because it's more than just golf, and I know it sounds weird to say it, but it's a family environment. It really is. And I know we've heard all the things about Shinnecock Hills and, fans out on Long Island and being mean to Wyndham Clark and all that. You don't get that stuff at this. This is literally like my kids have a ball when they go. And they both have ADHD, and it takes a lot to get two kids to go there and watch golf. And it's a lot of fun family stuff to do, and it's just more laid back than the typical PGA Tour event. And make no bones about it, the golfers are there to golf. That's what they're there for. But it's just a lot. I've been to a lot of golf tournaments, Scott. I worked when I worked at ESPN. I traveled the globe with them working golf events. This one's just different. It's not uppity up. It's not, hey, it's rich people only go sit there in their big tents. Now they have that. Don't get me wrong. You can go to 18 and find the wealthy, but it's open to. It's a very popular destination for a lot of people in the Northeast, and the Travelers people do it very, very well. The players love coming. A lot of the players bring their families to this event. And it's a lot of fun. It's also, like most TPC courses, very fan-friendly from a watching point of view. You could sit there on the side of the 18th fairway and watch the entire 18th hole, just like you can at TPC TPC Sawgrass. And then you could go 15, 16, and 17 are all around the lake, and there's plenty of places to view. It's not one of those courses like, don't get me wrong, Pebble Beach is a beautiful location, but it's a terrible event to watch golf because, by the way, one half of the course is on the ocean.
Yeah.
You can't stand there. A really, really good place for, like, if me and my kid want to go watch a certain player in a certain hole, easy to get to, easy to watch. And the cell towers work too, so you can live bet while you're walking around as well.
Well, that's awesome. And that's the best part. And that's what we want to focus on here on this episode. And I guess let's just get right into the golf, because I know you have several bets that you've placed on outrights as well as matchups and other prop bets. The action does get underway today. So if you were listening to this pod, and the first round has already gotten underway, well, there's still plenty of opportunities to live bet this thing. I know a lot of golfers will get off at, right when you're listening to this pod, 5, 6 a.m. And the last tee time is going to be 11:30, I believe, Eastern time. So let's take a look at the board right now. Up on FanDuel, David, you have Scotty Scheffler, your overwhelming favorite at plus 440. Then you got Xander Schauffele plus 1,500, Tommy Fleetwood 16-1, Ludwig Oberg 18-1, Matt Fitzpatrick 22-1, Cameron Young 22-1, and your U.S. Open champion, Wyndham Clark, all the ways down the board at 33-1. Talk to me about Wyndham Clark first. After the U.S. Open win, do you think he carries some momentum here into the Travelers?
Yes and no, and you're going to have the momentum of having played as well as he has, and this is obviously a much easier course, but he's not someone I'm backing. First of all, the odds are as low as they are, as short as they are, because he won last week, but it's a massive letdown spot. If you're someone who believes in going from a massive, huge 72 holes, just burning everything you got to win that event, and then you come here, that's not a place where you want them. You don't see a lot of players doing the back-to-back. I know Scotty did it a couple of years ago. I'm not going to take Wyndham. It's also not necessarily a course that fits his game, so to speak. Will he play well? Yeah, he played as well as anybody last week when he won the U.S. Open, but not something I'm going to take at this course which is more of a positional, get the ball out there, make sure you hit the right spots, and then angle on in. It's not a long course. It's only 6,800 yards. I'm looking for guys who are good off the tee as well as good with the shorter approaches and know how to get up and down around the greens. One of the names you mentioned, Xander Schauffele, he's on my card almost every single week. Can't go wrong with this guy. This guy is always a top 10, top 20 guy. You said 15-1 at FanDuel Sportsbook. He won this event a couple years ago in 2022, 4 straight top 20s here. As I mentioned, it's a positional off the tee and second shot course, and this guy checks all those boxes. 13th off the tee, 15th in total driving. Here, distance isn't the thing. It's where you position yourself. 29th on approach and 13th tee to green. The greens are smaller, Scott, which puts emphasis on making birdie putts. This is not a win at -4 type course like Wyndham just had. This is a win at 19 or 20 under par. Small greens, tree line, positional type stuff. I've gotten to play it a couple of times. It's a really fun course to play. And Xander's one of those guys I'm looking at 15-1 as well as a top 20 finish at about -140. And another guy I really like this week, you didn't get to him on that board because he's not one of the top 5 or 6 guys, but his price is similar to Wyndham Clark. I like Justin Thomas here, Scott. He's fully back from his off-season back surgery, which really cost him the first 2 months of the season where he was still coming back from that. 6 consecutive top 25 finishes. 4th place at the PGA Championship, where he was the clubhouse leader for a while before Aaron Rai went bananas. 17th place finish last week at the U.S. Open. He didn't play this course a lot early in his career when it wasn't a signature event and it wasn't a popular destination. He's come the last 3 years finishing 9th, 5th, and 9th. Consistently does well on Pete Dye courses, TPC River Highlands, TPC Sawgrass, the RBC over at Harbortown. Positional type courses that Pete Dye is known for. He plays well there. He has a win at Sawgrass. He has a win at Harbortown. This course is very similar to that. The guy's gained strokes overall in 6 straight events, including 2 or more strokes gained overall in his last 5 events. Quietly putting together some really, really good rounds. And this is the type of event and course where he flies under the radar, comes out and wins it. I'd be like, all right, 29-1, I'm going to cash that ticket.
Yeah, I was seeing it's down to 25-1 up on FanDuel right now, but I was looking at the top 10, including ties. And again, we always say this when you look at your golf bets, look at your sportsbook rules because you want to find out if dead heat rules apply or whatnot. FanDuel does say top X finish, including ties. So if it's a T10, then you do cash your bet. Justin Thomas plus 190 to finish top 10. I think that might be the way that I go here on my card.
Yeah, I like that. Justin Thomas, almost 2-1 to finish in the top 10. He's been having these quietly good rounds where he'll pop and all of a sudden he's in the lead for a little while. But the expectations have been different because he's coming off that offseason back surgery and got off to a bad start. He's also a guy that when the putter gets hot, he's the best in the world. And we've seen it at a couple of majors. We've seen it at the Players Championship. He right now, his iron game is extremely well. You don't have to be long off the tee. If your putter gets hot on this course, you can win this event. And I like the way his style of play is. And I said this earlier on my podcast, the Betting with Behrman podcast. I've gotten to play this course a couple of times. And no, I'm not playing from the tips and PGA Championship type stuff. But I've played the course and walked it a dozen times. When I'm there, I'm thinking of a guy like Justin Thomas, the way he plays, the way Xander Schauffele plays. And yes, there are guys who have bombed it over the trees like Scotty Scheffler and Bubba Watson's done to win this event and make the course a lot smaller than it is. I always say with this course, you just got to know where to miss. And Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele are the type of guys that know where to miss. Like, all right, I'm not going to hit this 380 yards over the trees. If I hit it 310, but I got to hit this spot on this fairway so I can have a better angle in. These guys know how to do that. So I'm looking for guys who know how to get their game around a golf course. Because you see a Bryson DeChambeau when it's a 7,700-yard course, just hit it as far as you can and deal with it later. You can't do that at this course.
First round leader bets, Justin Thomas 30-1, Xander Schauffele 22-1. So maybe a little sprinkle on the first round leader as well, in addition to the outrights and the top 10 finish. Anybody else on your card for a T10 or a T5?
Yeah, I'll mention Cameron Young, who obviously was the hottest name on tour a month ago, entering the PGA Championship when he had won the Players, had won Doral, led the Masters late against Rory, and finished 10th over at Wells Fargo, has cooled off a bit. And the results will show you that his last 3 events, including last week's U.S. Open, he finished outside the top 25. That said, the statistics show differently. This is a guy who's gained on approach and off the tee in 10 straight events dating back to his wins earlier this year. The stats have shown that he's still shooting very, very well off the tee, very well on approach. What his issue has been the putter. That was his issue last year before he became good, and it's his issue now. If you're going to find your putter this week, Cameron Young's a guy who shot a 59 on this course in 2024 when he finished in 9th place. We've seen him go out there and shoot well. So I'm going to take him in the top 10 at 175. Plus, I'm going to play him as a first-round leader because if his putter's hot, this guy can go out there and shoot a 59 or a 60, which is doable on this course. Then the other one that I'm going to throw out there, and this should be Captain Obvious, but we talk about it every week because his number's way too low. I'm going to be playing Scotty Scheffler in the top 5 market. It's the only market you can reasonably play ahead of time. It's even money, 102. I know he hasn't won since the season opening Amex, but he finishes in the top 4 7 times this year, including the wins, including last week at the U.S. Open. Guy leads the tour in shots gained total, tee to green, greens and regulation. He's a slump, but he leads the tour in all statistical categories. And if you lead the league in greens hit and you lead the league in tee to green and you're 5th off the tee, you're going to win an event at some point. Don't be surprised if Scotty Scheffler puts it all together this week and runs away with this event. He's going to do that at some point this season. He's going to put it all together. You know, 1 week, he actually putted extremely well at the U.S. Open, but they weren't dropping. And the week before, he had his irons really well. He couldn't make the putts. Again, he leads the tour in almost every statistical category, but he hasn't won since the opening week. There's going to be a week where you say, yeah, I should have seen it coming, puts it all together, and he wins by 8 shots. This is the type of course where he can do that. But you can't bet him at plus 420, so I'm going to bet him to finish in the top 5 at minus 102. I like him here. He won a couple of years ago here. If his putter starts hitting well, he could run away with this.
The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every goal changes everything. And now, FanDuel is giving you a reason to root for every single one. Introducing Every Goal Pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. That's right, more goals means more bonus bets, and all you have to do is turn on your token. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/believe to get started now. 21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DC, Kentucky, and Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY New York. Call 1-877-770-7867 in Louisiana.
Let's transition from the golf, David, to talk a little World Cup action, where was an interesting result on yesterday's schedule, including Canada losing to Switzerland 2-1. And because of that, the Canadians will not be playing on home soil in the round of 32 and the round of 16. So yes, they advance, but they lose the opportunity to play at home, something that obviously would have been to great benefit for them, and something that the United States has when it comes to their winning the group and advancing, because they stay on the West Coast the whole time. Like literally, they go from LA to Seattle to I forgot where else they're playing, San Francisco or Santa Clara, excuse me. So like the United States stays on the West Coast, which is a huge advantage as opposed to other teams that have to, travel across time zones. The U.S. men's national team will play their final group stage game tonight against Turkey. Up on FanDuel right now, the U.S. are overwhelming favorites on the three-way line, minus 110. Actually, not overwhelming favorites, but they are minus 110. Turkey plus 260, the draw plus 300. Now, the United States has nothing to play for, literally. They've already clinched the top spot in the group, and all the players that have yellow cards will not be playing, as that's what Mauricio Pochettino, say that 20 times fast, has said. So Tyler Adams, Flo Balogun, Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson, they will be on the bench and not play at all, not risking another yellow card here in the group stage. Is there a way that you can get around, David, betting the draw or betting Turkey in this match?
I would look towards maybe the under a little bit.
Okay.
It's not
So you
like
don't want to be
Turkey.
un-American. You just want to root for a lower scoring game.
I can tell you right off the bat, I would have absolutely no problem whatsoever betting against America if that's what I thought the play would be. Not sure. I mean, I did it in hockey, but we're not going to talk about that. I was called a lot of names when I took Canada versus United States in hockey, but that's neither here nor there. Do I think Turkey's going to win? No, they don't have much more to play for. The United States, so if Turkey wins, they could potentially get in as one of the third place teams, yada, 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 depending on what happens with Paraguay and Australia. It's an unfortunate circumstance of the new rules and the new style of this being 48 teams and the tiebreakers and all that. But on the bright side, this is the first time since 1930 the United States has won their first 2 World Cup games, so it's not a situation we're used to. From a betting perspective, because of all the names that aren't playing, and because it's not like Turkey is a team that's lost 6-0 every night, I would go with the under 2.5, because if the United States isn't going to play anybody and they're not going to go to great lengths to try to do anything, because it's not like they're going to run their offense because half their players aren't playing. It might be a park the bus scenario. Don't get injured. Don't get any red cards. I'm going to go with the under 2.5. It's not the strongest play on the board, but if you're going to play that game, that's the way I would play it. Would you be surprised if all of a sudden it was midnight tonight and it was 1-0 United States? No, that wouldn't surprise you.
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Elsewhere on the schedule for today, the action will get started with Ecuador against Germany. Germany already won their group. They're minus 145 favorites. Ecuador plus 330 and the draw plus 360. Curacao takes on the Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast minus 650. Curacao plus 1,600. The draw plus 650 there. And the Netherlands against Tunisia, where the Netherlands minus 1,000, Tunisia plus 2,200, and the draw plus 900. Japan takes on Sweden, where Japan minus 120, Sweden plus 350, the draw plus 250. I gotta tell you, David, my favorite part of this entire World Cup has been all the videos on social media of the European and Asian fans in America for the first time, seeing the things like the portion sizes at restaurants, the free refills on soda and coffee, walking into a Costco or a Walmart and seeing what it's like. It's been the best part of this World Cup, is seeing how the people who have never been to the United States before, what their reactions are.
It's been fantastic. And having spent time over in Europe, I've done the comparison the opposite way, and was stunned at the fact that I had nowhere to park the car and the bed was smaller than me. And I even stayed in the dorms at St. Andrews and I couldn't even get my golf clubs in the door. The room was that small. It has been exciting seeing it go the other way, and seeing people go to Buc-ee's and seeing them go to Costco. And everyone has seen the whole Freddie scenario. I don't know if he's real or not real, but we followed all Freddie on Twitter and how all the celebs are coming out. And it's been great watching that. I've also enjoyed seeing them go to other sporting events they're not used to. Watching
them at the baseball games? Unbelievable.
Watching all of Scotland go to Marlins Park and watch the Marlins versus the Rangers was absolutely phenomenal. I had friends that were there that night that said they had no idea what was going on. And even yesterday watching, was it the Norwegians go bananas when the Mets gave up a 3-run homer? And they showed it. Phenomenal. These guys are having a ball. I have friends that were down in Miami when Brazil and Scotland are down there playing last night, and they have seen nothing like it. They're nuts. And I'll tell you what, Scott, I saw a video of the Scots. First it was at Marlins Park, and then it was somewhere on South Beach just going bananas. And all I did was retweet a video with the comment, "These people are nuts." 150,000 impressions, likes, retweets, all from the Scots.
Yes.
All from them. I got so 35 new followers, and they're all Scots. It's phenomenal.
There was a video of there's a Scottish 8-year-old kid being interviewed on the news talking about how expensive his experience and how expensive the ticket was, and with his accent, it's just hilarious. But I've been following on social media Bob from Japan, who's been experiencing Texas barbecue for the first time, and it's been great. So World Cup here in the United States, also in Mexico and Canada, so far off to a great start. We still have several weeks left. Once we get into the elimination round, that's when things really start to heat up.
I did see someone tweet out just before the show started. I saw someone tweet out, "Is it me, or do the Europeans just get an 8-week vacation with unlimited funds to travel across the United States and go to games that cost $3,000 a piece? Because all they're doing is traveling our country and going to our games
Yeah.
and having 8 weeks off. It's like, where are they getting all this money from?"
But it's great. It's great to see them, like you said, in the baseball stadiums. The Tartan Army invading Fenway Park, and then invading. I saw them doing the march to Marlins Park, and I'm like, that's the first time people actually walk the streets of Little Havana. So
It is. And not only that, but the, I saw that Miller Lite took advantage of what was going on in Boston, and they had a whole thing where they shipped them beer down the ocean from Boston all the way to Miami to make sure that, because they ran out of beer in
yeah,
Boston, they wouldn't run.
yes,
Phenomenal. Just taking full advantage of what's going on. And yeah, no one's ever marched down Calle Ocho to go to a Marlins game. I made a comment to a buddy of mine who went to Miami. I said, for those that don't know, Marlins Park is built on the hallowed grounds of the Orange Bowl, the old
yep.
Orange Bowl that was unfortunately knocked down and replaced with Marlins Park. We won't get into that story. I said, this is the most exciting thing that happened on that piece of land since Wide Right 2 back in the early 90s. Like, we would walk that walk down in Little Havana to get to the Orange Bowl because that's what we did back then as
hmm
kids. And no one goes to Marlins games. And it's just like, wow, look at this. People are going.
It's great. It's great to see. The NBA draft wrapped up last night. You take a look at the Rookie of the Year odds, and I talked about this on yesterday's pod. But in most years, it's a foregone conclusion. The number one overall pick is the odds-on favorite to be the NBA Rookie of the Year. Maybe some years you have the second overall pick that winds up being the favorite. We have the third overall pick, Cameron Boozer, as your favorite up on FanDuel at plus 240. Darren Peterson, the second overall pick, is plus 400, as is the number one overall pick, AJ Debanza, at plus 400. What did you make of those odds once you saw the fluctuation in the market when they first opened?
I was actually disappointed that Boozer was the favorite because I wanted to pull a Boozer card right off the bat. I thought he was the best player in the country, and I thought he was the best player in the draft. And I know he doesn't have the same athletic fit that Bonanza and Peterson has. I want nothing to do with Darren Peterson until I can be told that he's actually going to play and
Yeah.
not be a pain in the you know what.
Hmm.
I'm actually going to go further down the board. Being an SEC guy, having to watch Acuff Jr. at Arkansas last year, the guy impressed me. He's an absolute wonderful shooter. Great in fast breaks, and I think he has an opportunity. Although he's in the Never Never Land of Sacramento, that if they do something with that team, I think this guy can score 25, 30 a game and win this award. And also looking at McKill Brown Jr. out of Louisville, I think he in Brooklyn at least will get some attention if they're still paying attention to the other team in New York. People forget there's a second team in New York. And maybe he can get something. I like those odds at plus 950. Boozer's a little too low for me, even though I think he's the best player coming out, and it wouldn't be surprised if he gets 20-9 for the next 10 years of his career. And I'm out on Peterson because I want that guy to focus before I bet him. So watch him go
Yeah.
away and run away with it, but who knows?
Yeah, I want nothing to do with Darren Peterson, and maybe it is Boozer in the right spot and having the right impact on his team. Curious to see what Debanza does. I said it on yesterday's pod, I think Yaxel Lendeborg is in a great situation playing there with the Golden State Warriors. But the one thing that has me a little bit hesitant on Lendeborg is that his former head coach, Dusty May, had the pick of the litter. He could have taken any one of his three players in, Morris Johnson or Mara or Lendeborg, and he chose Johnson above the other two big men. So that could be just because of need and fit with Cooper Flag, or who knows the players better than the guy that coached them to a national championship. Maybe we should trust Dusty May's evaluations.
And I'm assuming that was all part of the whole, if we hire you as coach, what are you going to do with the first pick type
Yeah.
scenario? One thing about AJ is I went to go watch UConn, Florida, in the the nightcap of the Jimmy V Classic. And you get there a little early to watch the first game and the undercard, and it was Clemson versus BYU, and I was blown away by him. So that was last November, December, and obviously put together an outstanding season, kind of forgotten out in BYU. And it's good to see the scouts didn't forget who he was, because he went out number 1 overall pick, which was what was expected by the time the draft kicked off. I, of course, couldn't bet it in Connecticut, so glad you didn't ask me who I was taking as number 1 overall pick, because I can't bet it here, and just the rules of Connecticut. So even today, being at Foxwoods, I couldn't open my FanDuel app. But if I'm at Mohegan, I can't open the DraftKings app. So such is life in Connecticut.
It was a chalky draft.
Yes.
The NHL draft is coming up on Friday. And, I mean, the number 1 overall pick is a foregone conclusion. Gavin McKenna is like minus 20,000 or something like that. I saw. It was like, you can't even bet it. It's off the board. No. But now we're seeing Ivar Stenberg minus 900 to be the 2nd overall pick. Those odds have moved like significantly in his favor, which is unbelievable. Caleb Malhotra is minus 160 to go 3rd overall. The son of Manny Malhotra. We're getting to the age where we're getting these guys that we watched play. Their kids are getting drafted. We've already been at that age, David, but
we've been at that age.
It's happening.
I think the one that hit me the hardest was when I saw, was it Frank Gore's kid was in the NFL, and I was like, okay, okay, I get you. Speaking of the NHL, Florida Panthers down to 750 with the Tkachuk brothers.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. Everyone healthy next year. Watch for them.
Yeah, it would not surprise me at all. One best bet that I have on the draft, we're going to have to find it available because certain books are very limited. But I was told by one of my guys, look for the under 15.5 for Alexander Command. Under 15.5 for the Swedish center Alexander Command in the NHL draft. There's your best bet.
Can I violate the Wire Act and have you place it for me?
Let me find it first. let me find it first. All right, David, tell everybody what you got going on the Betting with Behrman podcast, the newsletter, and website as well.
Absolutely. We just yesterday we released another episode of the Behrman Betting podcast. I had an OG of the Betting with Behrman podcast, Kyle Soppe from Pro Football and Sports Network, help me pick FanDuel's Rookie of the Year. We talked about that. We had a whole segment on it, and we broke down the Travelers Championship. We'll be out there later this afternoon as well as Saturday. So maybe, Scott, if you're doing VSiN on Saturday when I get home from the Travelers, maybe we'll chat about that as well. Go to BehrmanBets.com, download the newsletter 3 days a week. Probably going to up that a little bit in the fall. We're going to get all the golf. The entire golf card is out there, as well as some NFL stuff. World Cup stuff. We have that day to day. And of course, follow me on Twitter at David Behrman, and find me on Sportsline Discord, as well as the Early Edge a couple days a week as one of their betting analysts as well. We killed it in college baseball. We had 11 units on the season in college baseball. It was actually higher until I lost all 3 games of the College World Series Finals.
We won't
lost all 3 of them. I can admit that. I lost all 3. North Carolina's ace is on the mound. He gets blown up. All right, well, no one can beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to win it all. Go with Oklahoma. They lose. All right, I'm back on North Carolina. They're deeper. They get killed. So I can admit it. I absolutely misread Oklahoma the entire time in the playoffs, but we still finished up overall in the road to Omaha, and we finished up over 11 units on the season. We're going to be back next February as well for tons of college baseball content.
There you have it. Follow him on social media and check out the website, the newsletter, and podcast as well. For David Behrman, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.